Hey guys, it's Archon. Recently, a lot of wizards have been changing over to the critical mass build, so I just thought I'd put together this guide showing you how you can buy a critical mass set on the auction house. I'm going to buy it all in one sitting, however, you might want to buy it over time so you can snipe some good deals on some bids or some low buyouts. The critical mass build is probably better for farming demonic essences than the Archon build, and now it's also a good way to farm Paragon since they increased the bonus experience you get for going up higher monster powers, and critical mass is typically better for going up on higher monster powers. So the budget we're going to use today is 50 mil. I think 50 mil is a good all-around budget. That's right when I would start buying a witching hour for the build, but you could use this you could use this guide for any budget. If it's less than 50 mil, maybe just don't get the witching hour, find those stats somewhere else. If your budget is a lot over 50 mil, like 500 mil plus, then you might want to get Tall Rosh's chest for the extra attack speed, but we're going to be going 3-piece Zunis just to get the all-res we need. It's an easy way to get the all-res. I'm also going to be building the set on EU. I've gotten a lot of complaints on my last videos, people saying EU is so much more expensive than US. Oh my gosh, this set's going to cost me 3 times as much on EU because the prices are crazy. That's not true at all. EU has almost the exact same prices as US. In my experience, EU is actually a little bit cheaper recently. It might have been a little bit more expensive before, but it's about a 10% variance. It's really not a big difference, and so to prove that, we're going to do it on EU. And I also have a 0 Paragon character on EU, so anyone complaining that Paragon was accounting for too much of it, we'll have 0 Paragon, so it won't matter. So again, I'm just going to go through all the pieces we're going to buy and how I buy them. Basically, we're going to try to get some minimum stats for defense and utility and then get as much damage as we can. So this isn't the only way to build the set. These are just going to be the pieces that I've found are the cheapest to get each of those stats. If you find that some of the pieces get more expensive after this guide comes out, then you'll just have to find those stats on other pieces. So I'll give you guys a list right here of what stats you're looking for so you know what we're trying to get, and then you can find out the best way to do that, hopefully using this guide. We're going to be trying to get at least 550 all res. I usually try to get at least 600, but 550 minimum. 3,500 armor at least. I try to go over 4,000 usually. Armor's really undervalued. You have to remember it does the same thing as all res. I'm going to try to get at least 45 crit chance. I'll go for 48 or higher, but 45 I think is the bare minimum. Our attack speed, we want to hit one of the breakpoints. If you haven't heard about breakpoints, I'll put a link in the description. But we're going to go for the 2.31 attack speed breakpoint. I think that's the bare minimum you want. If you had more money, you might want to go for a 2.51, 2.73, or even a 3 attacks per second. But 2.31 works pretty well. We're going to get at least 35,000 health. 40,000 health is preferable, but at least 35. We're going to get at least 800 life on hit. I think that's bare minimum. You could go up to 1,000 if you want, but 800 will get the build working. We're going to get at least 12% movement speed. If you want 24% movement speed, you can get that, but I think 12% is all you need. The critical mass build doesn't really rely on getting around really quickly because you're going to spend most of your time fighting. And we're going to get at least 19 8-block. If we get 20, we get 20, but we're going to get at least 19. So I'm going to buy some of the pieces. We'll stop, try some of it on, see where we're at, and see what we still need. I think that's the best way to go about building a set. We're going to start out with the Chantoto's Will. If you can afford it, Chantoto's Will and Chantoto's Force, I think is just the way to go. And I'm going to put about 20% of my budget in the Chantoto's Will. However, our Witching Hour is going to take up a lot of our budget, so I'm going to lower that down a little bit. So 20% of the budget would be 10 mil. We're going to put 8 mil into the Chantoto's Will. Just because our Witching Hour is going to cost about 10 mil, that's going to take up 20% of our budget right there, and that's more than I'd usually put on the belt, obviously. Now there's a few ways we could go here on the Chantoto's Will. We could get attack speed if we wanted to hit like the 2.51 mark and we had a lower budget like 50 mil. But I'm going to go for crit hit damage because we're only going to go for the 2.31 mark. It lets us get a little bit more damage, and crit hit damage is one of the stats that's hard to get when you're building a CM set and you don't have a lot of money. So we're going to sort by DPS here, and we're just going to see how much we can get. If we can get a 2.5 right here, like a 0.25 attacks per second on there, then we're going to. That one's not too bad right there. Only 46 crit damage, but it doesn't look like it's going up much higher than that. We can get 57 with 2.24, but we lose a substantial amount of damage, and it costs a little bit more. Yeah, we're just to make things easier, I'm going to go a little bit faster than I normally would just to keep this video from being too long. But we're finding one with good weapon damage and good crit damage. That one's good. And the attack speed helps. Obviously, the more attacks per second on there, the easier it's going to be to hit that 2.31. We got Chantoto's Force next. I'm going to put a little bit less on this. So we'll put 5 mil on the Chantoto's Force. I'd really not. I'd like to spend even less than that. That's about 10% of our budget. We put average damage on there. If we can get the 9 attacks per second, we will. If not, it's not a big deal. First one right there just got posted, has 9 attacks per second. That's pretty nice. We might go ahead and snatch that. We could get more crit chance. Looks like there's some other things on here. It's 4 mil though. We could get some more int if we wanted to. We'll just go ahead and grab that one though. That one's good enough. And that extra strength and dex is some armor and some dodge. It's 4 mil, not a bad price. We're going to go Stormcrow and Blackthorn's Pants. I think that's the best way to get your life on hit. That way you don't have to get it anywhere else. We'll go, we'll say 4 mil on the Stormcrow. We're going to see how much crit chance we can get. So 4 mil, we might be able to get 4.5, which I don't think you could do on US, to be honest. But we can't get that much life on hit, so we're probably going to go 4 crit chance. We did get, I think we only got 9 APOC on our Chantota's Will, so we're going to go ahead and try to get one that has 10 APOC here. That way we hit that 19 Arcane Power on crit. And then we can only get the 4s. And we're going to see there's 437, 464, that's pretty nice. 463, it's about the same, and it's a bit cheaper. We lose that 1% to lightning damage. The percent to lightning damage, it is extra damage, but it's not as much as if we had a black weapon. Chantota's Force is not a black weapon, so the percentage to elemental damage is only giving us about half the benefit it would if we had a black weapon. But just the Chantota set is so good for CM, I don't think it makes sense going any other way. So we're going to look at Blackthorn's Jousting Mail. Now, the Blackthorn's Jousting Mail I found that you get the best deal on is Armor and Vitality. You could try to get some all-res here, but remember, 10 armor does the same as 1 all-res, the exact same thing. And when you're a wizard, you have a lot of all-res. When you get higher up, there's diminishing returns, which means that it's not even doing as much. So sometimes 500 armor would do as much as 80 all-res, even though people don't treat it that way. So we're going to look for, we'll say at least 250 armor, and we'll see how much fight we can get on there. Sometimes you can get some really good deals with this. Yeah, you can see right here, for 3 million, we're getting 209 vitality with 400 life on hit, almost 300 bonus armor. There's some really crazy deals. You couldn't get this with all res. Here's 477 life on hit, 186 vitality, a little bit less armor. Let's see, but I think the 400 will be enough. We get good armor there, 11% life. It's only 3 million, which is pretty awesome. Yeah, I think we'll go ahead and take that one. This one here is 2.9. Lose a little bit of vitality, but we make it up with the life percent. They're really close. We get more life on hit, but we lose a little bit of armor and vitality. Yeah, let's go ahead and grab that. Those are about the same. Either way, it wouldn't have mattered too much. Again, we're going to get the 3-piece Zunis. So I'm going to look at Amaro. Now, you could get Tall Rashes, like I said, but you lose so much all-res because you're not going to be able to get armor. Sorry, you're not going to be able to get all-res on the Tall Rashes unless you spend a lot. And you're not getting the bonus all-res from the 3-piece Zunis. So I think Zuni's usually the way to go until you have maybe 500 mil or more to spend. But my set's about 3 bill. I still use 3-piece Zunis for most of the time. And on the Zuni's Morrow, we just want to get some int and vite. If we could get some bonus armor, it'd be nice, but bonus armor seems to be pretty expensive on Zuni's chest and boots for some reason. Now the prices have gone down a little bit since 1.0.7 because you can craft chests now. Let's see, it can't get quite that much, so let's just lower this down slightly. Don't want to spend more than 4 mil on the chest, it's a little under 10%. We only have one here. We'll go ahead and grab it. Looks like I was trying to get a little too much int and vite. So again, if I was building a set, I would probably try to get, I'd spend a little bit more time on each piece normally. But for the purpose of this video, we'll go through a little bit quicker. So let's see. Yeah, Zuni's Trail, again, we're just trying to get good int and vite. If we can get that 8% to poison damage, we will. But we don't have a black weapon, so it's not as important as if we were building like an Archon set. So then I'm just going to see, let's see, on int we can get 154. That's a 24-point spread from what we had listed. Vit, 176, about the same spread. So either way should be fine. Let's just up these a little bit because it looks like we can. Okay. So dex on there is dodge. So it's worth a little bit. I'd rather have strength because strength will protect us from the stuff that usually kills you in CM, like Molten and stuff. usually not dying from getting hit, which is what dodge would protect you from. But we want to get a good price too, of course. Let's see. I'd like to spend 3 mil or less, just because it looks like we can. That'll limit our options a little bit more. We can get something like that for 2.5 to get our VIT out of the way. Let's see, this is only 2 mil, and we get the 8%. Let's just go ahead and get that. We'll save a little bit of money on the Zunamoss's trail. Now on the Zuni's Pox, I usually like to get attack speed if we have a bigger budget. I think that's the best way to go. Crit chance is really expensive on a Zuni's Pox, but we don't have a big enough budget to get attack speed. So if you have more, I would go that way, and you could probably get up to the 2.5 mark. But since we don't have a big enough budget, we're just going to try to get some extra int, maybe some average damage, something like that. So let's start just by seeing how much average damage we can get if that's all we were getting. Looks like we can get a lot of average damage just for 5 mil, which is pretty nice. And we can get some other stuff on there too. This is a place you could get some life on hit or some extra vitality. We shouldn't need too much bonus vitality. But let's see. If we say we want at least 38 average damage. That's usually when you start getting those ranges of damages. You can get them lower, but the auction house is a little bugged with average damage, so like 29 minimum damage is really only 14.5 average damage, but it will show up as 29. So those ranges are usually better. It doesn't look like we can get any bonus intelligence. So let's see, we might as well get something else on it, because average damage seems to be pretty cheap. There's one with vitality, just got posted. Has good average damage, we get some dex there. Let's see if we get some armor, or maybe some strength. Oh yeah, here we can get 240 armor and 98 strength. That's pretty sexy. It's only 43 average damage, but yeah, that armor, again, 240 armor does the same thing as 24 all res, and because we're going to have a lot of all res, it's probably going to do the same thing as 30, 35 all res, which is pretty substantial. We're already getting all res on there, of course, and then at 98 strength is still armor as well. And so I'm going to go ahead and grab that one. 3.5 mil is not too bad. Let's get our witching hour next. I'm not going to search for witching hours because I want to be able to search for 9 attack speed. We're just going to search all armor types. Legendary. That way we can put attack speed on here. It doesn't let you if you type in witching hour. And get good attack speed and decent crit hit damage, rather, not chance. So we'll go 42 there. And we'll put 90 just so that we get witching hours showing up. We'll get Tasking with Theos, maybe some Tall Rasha's amulets showing up too. This first one here just got posted, has a lot of bonus armor. 235. That's probably going to get bought pretty quickly. Looks like this is sorted by armor right now, maybe? Yeah, so we'll just quickly see if there's any that have really high intelligence. It doesn't look like it. For the sake of time, I'll just go ahead and buy that one. Normally I'd look through them a little bit more, but that's some nice armor right there. So we're going to be a little low on all res, but we can probably get it on the amulet. Amulets, shoulders, gloves have become a little bit cheaper since the since 1.0.7, since you can craft those pieces now. So we started with 120 mil. We've spent 35 mil so far. We still have 15 mil left to spend, so we're going down to 70 mil on here. We're going to get some Vile Wards now. Vile Wards have gone down significantly in price, again, because of that crafting. And we're going to try to get some Vite on here too. We're probably going to load up on Vite pretty well. I think we'll clear that 40 pretty easily, but we'll see. So we get a lot of int with a little bit of Vite. Looks like we're getting small amounts there. Let's say if we want at least 50 Vite, we can get 217. Or that's too much Vite we can get. We could get, let's see, let's go ahead and say 80 Vite. Let's see how much int that gives us. Okay. Once you start approaching a tipping point for a hundreds mark, like we're getting really close to 200 on this int, and we're getting really close to 100 on this vit, you can see it's capping out right there, because once you cross over, people are willing to pay a lot more. It doesn't make sense, but people will pay a lot more once you hit the 100 mark. So we're just going to say 190 int, 190 vit. Since we're not going over 200 or 100 anyways, all these are going to be really similar, and we might as well just find one that's really cheap. So we can get 2.7 here. could try to get some strength on here, because again, strength is armor. I'm not sure if we'll find it. Let's see. 72 strength, 68 strength. We might as well take this one. Cheapest one is 2.7, and this one's 3 million. So 72 strength is 72 extra bonus armor. We'll grab those. And I think now would be a good time to try this on, see where we're at, and see what we still need. So I'm just going to send all these to my stash. And we're going to compare these to the stats that we were looking for on the set and see how close we are. So the set we're building with these stats, it should be able to tank MP10 if you're using Prismatic, but it's not going to be over tanky. You could go a lot tankier than this if you want to, and it'll be good for farming like MP5, maybe MP6 or 7 with Storm Armor, depending on how squishy you feel comfortable being. Throw these on. Okay, so we're only at 45,000 damage right now, but of course we still have some big money pieces here. We're at 37,000 health, which is pretty nice. We have some really basic gems in here, but we could be fine on health right now. Like I said, we want at least 35,000. I'd try to go for 40,000, but we'd be fine if we stopped right here. If we find a good deal on Vite somewhere, then we'll get it. If not, then we'll be good. Our attacks per second is 1.95. which means we still need, I think, 22 increased attack speed. If you have a Chantoto's Will, then about 6 attack speed will give you about 0.1 attacks per second. It matters on how much attacks per second you have on the Chantoto's Will. If you have less than 0.25, then you might need a little bit more than that. It's not an exact science, but that'll just give you some rough math. So yeah, again, if you're using Chantoto's Will, just think for every 0.1 you want to get about 6 attack speed. So to go from 1.95 to 1.31, we need to get 0.36 attacks. And so to get 0.3, we need 18, of course, and then at 6, we probably need 4 more. So like I said, 22 increased attack speed is what we're still looking at getting. And we don't want to get on the amulet unless we have to, because, yeah, it looks like we might have to get a little bit, though. There's a lot of stuff we want to get on the amulet, and it'd be nice if we didn't have to, but I'd really like to go rare bracers. This is the choice we have to make now. If we want to go Lacunis, it's going to cost a little bit. If you have at least 100 million to spend, I think Lacunis is a no-brainer. However, if you have a little bit less, sometimes rare bracers can be really cheap for the stats you get. So at this point, we have to decide if we want to go Lacunis or get attack speed on our amulet. If we get attack speed on our amulet, we either have to not get crit hit damage or we have to get trifecta. Trifecta amulets are still pretty pricey even after the crafting ones have come out. So we're going to at least look at Lacunis. Now there is an option of getting Lacunis without crit, and then you can get a lot more stats on there, but it doesn't look like we're going to be able to do that either. We still want 30 more crit to get that 48 mark. If we had a little bit less than that, it wouldn't be a big deal. And 30 crit obviously is not possible with these 3 pieces. So we'll just see how much crit we can get on Lacunis. Again, we're sacrificing some stats there, but maybe we can get some good Vite ones, take care of that vitality. We're just losing a little bit of damage compared to rare bracers, and we're going to have to get some all-res on the amulet. But it's a lot easier to get all-res on an amulet than it is to get attack speed. So we'll search for Lacuni Prowlers. I'm going to put 6 mil on here. It's a little bit much to spend, considering we still have to get 3 pieces after we get these. So we'll do vitality and crit hit chance. See how much crit hit chance we can get. We can get 4.5 with 72 vitality. It's not too bad, however we are spending 6 mil. 88 vitality, and we save 2 mil if we lose half of a crit. So, see here we can get 9 attack speed for the same price, which is a little bit of vitality. One just got posted, so did this. And we don't need that much vit, so I think we'll go ahead and grab these. The 6 million ones are better, but I'd rather save that 2 mil. So we have 8 mil to spend now. Sorry, that's my phone. We have these 3 pieces, so it's about 3 mil per piece. We got the 9 attack speed there, which means we now need 13 attack speed between the gloves and the ring. So we need at least, so we need at least 3 attack speed on the ring. That'll be easy to get, obviously. Our crit chance I wanted to get 30 of, and we just got 4 of it. So I'd like to still get 26, but that'd be really hard to get. That'd be max at crit chance on all 3 pieces. But again, that was my ideal amount, 48. 45 will still work just fine. So we'll just try to get as much crit chance as we can on these 3 pieces. So let's go ahead and knock out that ring first. So ring, we don't need much attack speed again. We need 3. I'm sure we're going to get more than that because these high-end rings don't really roll that low. Crit chance, I'm going to say 4.5. I'd like to get more than that, but if we find a really good deal, then I'd take that. And then let's see if we can get some int and average damage. If we could, it'd be nice. I don't want to put 6 mil on it though. I want to put more like 3 mil on it. I guess we could go 4 if you found a really good deal, because after this we have gloves and amulets, and those are both craftable, so they're getting a lot cheaper. Now we don't want to sort by attack speed because it's not that important to us. Average damage, we can just see what we could get here. Dang, 155 vitality there. It's too bad we don't need it. Yeah, man, one of these with average damage would be great, but it seems unlikely unless we want to settle for the 4.5 crit. Average damage does a lot when you have fast attack speed, and of course we do. Oh man, that bonus armor is nice. We've gotten a lot of armor already, but you can't have too much armor. The more armor we get, the less all res we need. I forgot to check that when we were looking at our set, but I think we'll be fine when we finish up. Yeah, this is hard. So we could forego the average damage and see what we get there. If we didn't do average damage, I'd want at least 5 crit and at least 70 int. We could see if we get some really high int ones. Probably not. High crit ones. That's not bad with that all res. 48 all res, 6 crit. And that's what we get if we want to go more tanky. But I think we're going to be fine. With this armor we have, it's more than I usually get, and it'll let us get rid of some of that all res. I'm going to go ahead and get one of those average damage pieces, because if we get 42 average damage, that's just as good as getting 42 crit damage. It's about the same. So I'll say 36 average damage. And we're just going to be a little bit lower on crit, but we'll still be fine. It was just this one. Oh yeah, the other one, or we get the armor one. Whoops, meant to delete that. So what was it? 177 armor. The other one had less average damage. So that gives us some vite and some armor. It's a little more defensive, or if we want to go a little more offensive. But it's only 2 mil. So let's go ahead and grab it. So that gets rid of 5 of our attack speed. We needed 13 total. Now we need 8. So we'll get 8 on the gloves. So it looks like we need at least 4 there. I was thinking attack speed could go up to 10 for some reason. Just not thinking. So I think we'll be able to get trifecta gloves. We'll find out here in a second. So again, it's really hard to get that crit damage on a CM set because of all the other stats you want. So you still have 6 mil to spend. So crit hit damage, we'll just leave blank, and leave int blank too. And I'm not sure if we'll be able to get all these. Oh yeah, it looks like we can. Gain gloves are coming down a bit in price. We can even get 99 int if we want to. Let's go ahead and put our budget at 2 mil. That way we're saving, or we'll say 3 mil. That way we're saving some for the amulet. That limits us a bit more. So it's 33 int with 21 crit damage, 48 and 26, 37, 23, 69 and 20. One does have 9.5 crit. And it's only 2 mil. So we'll go ahead and take that one. It also has the best natural armor. So again, that takes care of all of our attack speed. And now we're just going to try to get an amulet with good crit chance, crit damage, and some all res. And hopefully we can get some int on there too. But we might have to sacrifice int just so we can get the stats we need. We have, let's see, we have 4.4 mil to spend, so I'll go ahead and change that. Looks like we can get some with 77 all res. Pretty impressive. We'd like more crit damage than that, but let's say we want at least 6. Well, we'll just look at these 3, I guess. If I change anything else, we're just gonna limit what we're seeing. 73 all res, we get 58 and 9, 51 and 9.5. We can't get much int on there unless we go with this one. This one we're getting 42. So let's go ahead and see what happens if we take off int. We might be able to find some pretty good deals here. And at this point we'll say 60 all res. This will be nice and tanky. Crit hit damage now going up to 62. Get some bonus armor there. We could go really tanky if you want to do that. Yeah, let's see if we get some average damage. Uh, 35, but nothing great. Okay, there's some life on hit. We don't need life on hit, but a little bit more would help. I'm going to say 9.5 crit chance. And, yeah, usually if I'm building this on the stream, I'd have someone I could link to, and they'd tell me which one's better if I had 2 of them. At this point, I'm just going to use my best judgment, unless I want to link them to myself, but for the purpose of the video, we'll go ahead and not do that. I think I'm leaning towards that one with 111 int still. Is it this one? No, it must have had 9 crit chance. This one's pretty low on int. So we'll go ahead and get that one. Oh no, the crit damage is so low though. It's really a toss-up which one of these would be the best to get. It does have 77 all res. We're going to be low on crit damage either way at this point, I believe. But we'll get this one. I think it's a fine deal. Again, I usually spend a little bit more time making my decision. I'll send these to our stash and we'll see how we do. And then I'll test it out on MP10 as well as one of the lower MPs. MP10 we're going to use Prismatic, and then one of the lower ones we'll use something else. So again, you should be able to do this with any budget. If you have a higher budget, you're just going to get more of those stats. If you find that one of the pieces I got is really expensive, you can try to move some of the stats around. You know, you can try to move attack speed over to the amulet and get rare bracers. If you're going a lower budget, you probably won't be able to get a witching hour, and then you can move some of those stats to the other pieces. It's going to be hard to get that crit hit damage. So we're over 100,000 damage, which isn't too bad. Not a ton of damage, but I think we hit the defense pretty well. We have over 40,000 health, and that's just with these flawless square gems. We spent almost exactly 50 mil, just a little under it. We have 540 alt res, which is a little bit lower than I was trying to get to. I was trying to get to 550. However, we do have almost 4,500 armor, so we're going to be fine. Our defenses really are going to be fine for MP10. We hit that 2.31 attack speed mark that we were trying to hit. We have 45 crit chance, which was our bare minimum. We'd like to get more than that, but we hit what we need. Our life on hit is 909. We wanted at least 800, so that's great. We have 24% movement speed, which again I don't think is necessary, but it's nice. Overall, it looks pretty good. Our crit hit damage is a little bit lower than I'd like it to be, but 235 is not bad. And overall, the set turned out pretty well, I think, for a 50 mil set. We'll just go ahead. I'll throw on Prismatic. Let's see if I'm on MP10 right now. We'll just go to Q-Tips level 3. There's usually some elite packs there. And we'll see how this set works. Okay, throw on Prismatic. So with Prismatic, we're at 6,000 armor, which again is really high. So we got elite pack here, Molten, Minion. We don't want to stand in Molten, obviously, unless we have to. Takes a little while for our ticks to get going with the lower attack speed, but it's not too bad. So we have the yellow over here. That's probably what we want to focus down. So we're at 100,000 damage. It's not really high, but for 50 mil, it's not too bad. Some people, when they build their sets, they go for damage first. I prefer not to, just because I'd rather have the defenses I need. That way, if I want to do MP10, I can do MP10. Not have to worry too much about dying. Doing a lower MP, you can throw on Storm Armor and still do some pretty decent damage. If you wanted to, you could probably get up to 150,000 damage, maybe more with 50 mil, but you're not going to have this kind of defense and the build's not going to work as well. And you see we're still not doing bad damage. He's going down for a 50 mil set on MP10. It's working out pretty well. And then after this I'll show it on maybe MP5 with Storm Armor. You can see that you can actually farm pretty efficiently with a 50 mil set. If you're going lower budget, I'd still recommend getting these defenses and this utility. Otherwise, you're just not going to have, the build's not going to be working. If you want to lower the defenses a little bit, you could, and just not do the higher MPs. That's totally up to you if you want to get less all-res, less armor. Again, we loaded up on armor on this set just because it's pretty cheap to get, because it's undervalued. We get less health, then yeah, you could do that, and just you won't be able to do the higher MPs as well. But with this set, you'll be able to do Ubers, I think, pretty well. You can be a little squishy, because you could go higher on the all-res, of course, but you can see we're not having any problem with this elite pack on MP10. I think I'm standing in a Desecrate right now. It's not even breaking diamond skin. So you can see I just got hit by that explosion. Still not going down. Well, my health went down, still not dropping, of course. So yeah, you can see it handles MP10 pretty well. Plenty of defenses. And you can get there. I did this with 1 mil as well. Of course, you have a lot less damage if you have a 1 mil set, if you still want to get the same defense and utility, but you can make it work. You might not be able to get a Chantoto set, at least a good one, at low budgets, but I think as long as you have at least 5 or 10 mil to spend, Chantoto is just the way to go. I would do almost everything exactly the same. As long as you can afford 3-piece Zunis, Stormcrow with crit, Blackthorn's pants, Chantotos, I would get all of those. Witching Hour is the most expensive legendary for the ones that are worth it, and so that's the only thing I would hold off on if you were less than 50 mil. Yeah, everything else I would get about the same. Some people like to have a socket in their helm, so you could go Stormcrow with a socket. However, you're going to have to get that crit somewhere else, which is hard to do. It means you might not be able to go 3-piece Zuni, because getting crit on a Zuni's box is really expensive. So we'll go ahead and change to MP5 now. I'll put on Storm Armor, maybe change out my Frost Nova rune. And I'll put a link in the description to the builds I used for each of the MPs. You can see I just got to Inferno. I just leveled this character to 60 yesterday. Thanks to Arto from the stream. Thank you, Arto. He power leveled me up to 60 and then helped me get the waypoints I needed to do this video, just so I could do it on EU. So again, we're going to go Storm Armor this time with Shocking Aspect. It adds, I think, about 35% weapon damage. I tested it on Gome, and for me it added about 35% weapon damage. It's a huge boost in damage, but of course you're losing the defense there. And then the Frost Nova here, we're going to change to Deep Freeze. You could do Bone Chill as well. I like to do Deep Freeze if I'm going through things quickly, because then the buff will last, even if I'm doing an elite pack that only has 3 mobs in it. Usually the buff will still last through most of it. If I'm doing something a little bit higher MP, then I'll use Bone Chill. But yeah, we should still have plenty of defense for MP5. You'll see their health will go down much quicker now. Got some Arcane Enchant getting in our way here. Yeah, dropping pretty quickly. So you could farm MP5 pretty well with the 50 mil set. We build sets like this every morning on the stream. Let's go ahead and see if we can kill this treasure goblin with the set we have. Might be a little rough. Critical Mass has to be the hardest build to kill treasure goblins with. Just because you have to have targets standing still, and treasure goblins you cannot stun lock. Unless you have a lot of Critical Mass wizards. But we were able to get into a corner. It's usually the best way to kill them, if you can corner them. If you can't get them in a corner, just try to stay in front of them, because they'll turn before they start moving, and if you're in front of them, they won't move. Or they'll turn before they move, rather. So if you can just try to stay in front of them, anytime you see them change directions, get in front of them, then you can keep them from getting too far away, usually. Not that that's always easy to do. We'll find at least one more elite pack here, and then close out the video. I do not want to go to Key Dust level 2. I stay away from Key Dust level 2 and CM because those Splody guys mess me up. Some people don't have a hard time with them. I don't know. I guess it's because I'm always trying to kill them. I get myself killed, even with my own set. I don't go to Key Dust level 2 because I get myself killed on those Splody guys. Let's see, hopefully we can find one more elite pack. Ah, here we go. So Reflect Damage one with Arcane Enchant again. Not the easiest one, but it'll be good for the video. What else do we have on these guys? Knockback. What else do we have? Frozen. Oh, wow. Doesn't get much harder than this. Knockback, frozen, reflect damage, arcane enchant. Reflect damage, you can see, not doing too much to us, though. Let's stay away from that frozen. Might be GG if we get frozen. Yeah, mob's going down pretty quickly. So again, you could lower the defense to get more damage if you want to do the higher MPs, but you can see, again, this was 0 Paragon, 50 mil budget, you can make a pretty solid CM set, and you could still make a good one for even less than that. And I think this guide will work for anyone, regardless of your budget. So yeah, hopefully you enjoy it. If you do, please hit the subscribe button. I'll put a link to the live stream down below if you want to come watch us build sets every morning on there. It's usually higher budget sets because we get a lot donated to people's sets. People like to help each other out. Yeah, check out the live stream. Thanks for watching the video, and I'll talk to you guys soon.